Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of the Habibis, three game developers drinking good Arab tea. I'm your host for this week, Osama Dorius,
I'm Rami.
And I am Fawzi Mesmar.
and I didn't mess up the
You
intro.
did totally.
Wow.
That was on point. That was totally good. It's
Is
like
this the real Osama? Who is this?
this is like it's like riding a bicycle.
Yeah,
You don't do it for a while, but then you have to do it. You do it.
yeah, exactly.
The
I
thing-
feel
You
like
were-
going to ride a bicycle now and see
The
if
thing
I
is,
have
I
the same
remember
luck.
as Osama was on the bicycle, he crashed it a couple of times.
I've always wondered where the phrase comes from because I will say if you don't ride a bicycle for a few years, it is a lot harder.
It is a little wobbly. But
Yeah.
you're gonna keep your balance. It's just a little wobbly for a little while, and then
Yeah.
you're fine, right?
I don't know. I've seen some people in the Netherlands be like, "Oh, I haven't biked in like 20 years. Get on a bike and just fall over." Like it.
What I see is every winter, everyone in Montreal forgets how to drive in the snow, the first snowfall.
Right.
And then you're fine. But the first snowfall, there are more accidents than you could imagine because everyone just forgets that they have to brake earlier. And then we're
Yeah.
fine again.
Yeah.
Come to think about it, everything that they say is like riding a bike is not. Because like the minute you start doing it, it's like, wait, this is a little bit difficult. I can't
Yeah.
remember it.
Yeah.
They said that to me about snowboarding. It's not like riding the bike at all. And every time I did it, it was painful for me
Right.
and for everybody watching.
It's a lot of slow brain, fast brain thing. It's like, like what we call muscle memory as well. So like, yes, while we're doing it many times in a row, then we don't have to actively think about it with our slow brain and our fast brain kicks in. But
Mhm.
if you don't do that for a very long time, then the first few times you're doing it, you're still doing it with your slow brain for a bit until
Right.
it shifts over. So
Right.
I think it is like riding a bike, except the consequences of snowboarding are a little more than just wobbly. It might be falling, right?
Lots of falling, that's for sure.
Lots of falling.
I've been on skis once in my life and it was a disaster. So I hope it's not like being on skis.
I'm really good at the bunny hill. I don't go beyond that.
What is a buddy hill?
A bunny hill is where kids ski. It's like really, really, really not a very high mountain. It's a very small hill.
I mean, that's the biggest one we have in the Netherlands, I think.
Oh, that can't be right. Oh, you're pretty flat. That's true.
The entire country is flat. Our mountain, the Kouberg, is 300 feet high.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you only have bunny hills.
We have synthetic skiing.
Mm.
Like it's like just indoors.
Tell us where you should buy your house, Rami, for like the great flood when it comes to the Netherlands.
Yeah, I have to be a few floors up to make sure that I can build a harbor on my third floor or something when the weather comes. Yeah. How's your week been? How's things been?
Who are you asking?
All of you.
All of us.
All of you. All two of
us.
you.
All two of us.
All just the entire. Just
Yeah.
How are you?
I was super excited about Baldur's Gate 3, and I downloaded it a day early, only to learn that I have to delete it because that is the early access version.
Yeah.
And then I re-downloaded it on actual launch, and I haven't played it yet because I've been too busy to. So I am not the best week. Not the best week. All the anticipation, none of the payoff.
It's like 122 gigabytes. Like
Twice.
I think it's the only reason why I didn't download it. Is I'm not sure if I have enough space for it. I have to delete a bunch of games before I can download it.
I have to delete Microsoft Flight Simulator. Rami's gonna.
Astaghfirullah.
It's like 150 gigs.
And it's worth it.
It is.
It's put the entire planet in there. No, I downloaded it onto my Asus ROG, the Ally.
How does that work?
Just by downloading it.
No. I mean, like, how do you play it with the controllers?
Oh, right. No, it works fine. There's a controller mode in it.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
It's coming on PS5
next month.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
But a funny thing about it is the Ally puts itself to sleep if you don't use it for a while. So I would
turn-based combat. Oh no.
I would basically go and press download and then go back an hour
Oh.
later and find it asleep, and it would have downloaded like 7 gigs, and then turn it back on and then go away again, and then would download 7 gigs and fall asleep again. So the download took
Oh,
me like 4 days or something.
I thought you were saying you take so long deciding what to do in the turn-based combat that it shuts down on you.
No, 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 not that. Although some moves you could look at for a very long time before actually doing something.
Makes sense.
Did you
Yeah,
guys play Divinity Original Sin 2?
yeah.
Yes, I
I
played both.
bounced. I bounced off of it though.
Yeah.
I,
Did
I
you?
didn't finish either, but I enjoyed both. And the reason I didn't finish either is because I played them 4 players with 3 other friends.
Oh,
And that beginning of that game in 4 player mode is one of the best things ever. It's great. And then the end, when everyone has so many possible moves and so many actions, and you have to wait sometimes literally 45 minutes before your turn comes back around, like you just get so disengaged with anything that's happening. It's not
wow.
it's not playable.
I
Yeah.
think more games need to look at like what was the game again? DEFCON. Remember DEFCON?
Yeah. That's old.
DEFCON is really old, but it was really good. It had this multiplayer mode called desktop mode, um, where if you press like escape twice or something, this is literally just coming back to me now. If you press escape twice, the game minimizes to your taskbar, and then you won't get any like you will just hear sounds basically.
Hmm.
And then if somebody would launch nukes or an attack would happen, you'd basically get like an Age of Empire style like da pop up,
Huh.
and then you could click back to the game. It was great.
You know what else was great? On the
What?
same, I used to play chess by email. Do you all
Yeah,
remember that?
yeah, asymmetrical chess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, and it's fine. Take as long as you want.
Hmm.
And then the upgrade to that. Have you ever heard? Was it called Neptune's Pride? No, Neptune's something. A game. Yeah, Neptune's Pride, which was incredible. It had 2 modes. It's basically like Risk in space, and it had 2 modes. One is everyone has 24 hours to play their turn, and if they
Right,
don't, then the turn is skipped for them, and
right.
then it moves forward. But if everybody else plays their turn early, then the 24 hours resets from that point. So sometimes when everyone's awake and alert, you get 3-4 turns like in a row really quickly. Um, and what was amazing is, yes, games took 3 or 4 months to play this way, especially if you had multiple players, but they felt a lot more epic as a result. And
Hmm.
I played this one time when I was still working at Gameloft with no joke, like 30 people on the floor. It was so epic. That's all people were talking about. Water cooler chats. People were
Hmm.
just talking because like you couldn't even see because of fog of war what was happening on the other side of the empire. So you just hear rumors. It felt like you're hearing rumors about this huge empire on the other side that might make it your way, that trampled on and eliminated other players. It was something really epic. It was really, really
That's
Yeah,
really
cool.
that's
good.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
That
is reminding me of like one of the most epic Civ games I've ever seen. In a game studio I was working on. Can't remember how long ago, but a long time ago. It was Civ 4, so it's that long.
Wow. Okay.
And we were playing a hot seat game of Civ 4 that I think lasted around a year. We
Wow.
basically like we had like a dedicated laptop in the studio and like a Slack channel. Not a Slack channel, it was a Skype channel at the time.
right, right, right.
When you say like it's your turn, and when it's your turn, you just stand up, you go play your turn, and you go back to your desk, and that's just kept on going. So whenever somebody's turn, we have to wait until that player plays its turn, and it was
Hmm.
like a hot seat type of game. And I think once a month or something, we'll have a barbecue at one person's place, and there'll be the laptop in one of the bedrooms, and people take turns going in and
Oh.
playing their turns while everybody else is like having food and a drink or something like that.
Amazing.
That game went on forever.
Yep.
That's incredible. Did you actually finish it?
I don't remember if we actually finished it.
Because that's not the point, right? The point isn't
That's
finishing it.
not
The
the point.
experience
It
is
was
really great.
going on. I
Yeah.
remember like around that time, we like I used to me and a friend we used to follow two Civ 4 players. Civ 4,
Hmm.
yeah, two Civ 4 players. I forget if it's Civ 4 or Civ 3, but they were playing a game. against each other, and there's has like the honor rules, but they were like posting what they're playing on a forum. So that
Hmm.
the honor rule was that both players should not read what the other player is posting, but they all
Oh,
like they're like on the forum for all of us people watching. We were reading what did they do, and
Amazing.
like what they were thinking about their moves. Like, I'm gonna put the soldier here, son. He will never know what I'm thinking, and like stuff like that. They will write down their strategy and what they're playing in the forum, one step at a time, and we our people are just following it as it plays.
yeah.
That
You have to.
also was going on for a year, if not more.
I'm very intrigued by that because I love seeing how different people think about strategy and how it's actually playing out on the other side, and especially if they're high level players, that you can learn a lot
Exactly.
from that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I remember that those two were like super high level players, and they were like just doing this for kicks, and like the community was kind of like following what they're up to.
I wish I was part of that. That would have been great.
I don't know. So somewhere on the internet, I need to look that up and see if it's still there.
Did did
That's
either
like
of you
15 years ago or something like that.
right? No, did either of you play DEF CON when it was out?
No, I've only heard about
Never.
it when
No.
people were talking fondly of it after the fact.
That was really. It's weird because it's like basically a 24-hour game in desktop mode,
Hmm.
but it's real time,
Hmm.
right? So the greatest games of DEF CON have like backstabbing and like people like deceiving each other and people talking and just like
Hmm.
a real good game of DEF CON takes very long because everything goes very slow.
Hmm.
But then when things start going, everybody has to react in no time at all.
Hmm.
It has this really good build up that I've never really seen replicated in a game. Like, the game would go through stages of DEF CON, basically.
Hmm.
And then, like, DEF CON 1 was the nukes can fly. But, like,
Huh.
up until that point, there's a part where you can only move around, but you can't, like, see each other. Then there's a part where you can, like, see each other, but you can't attack each other, but you can spot each other. And then there's, like, you can start, like, attacking certain things, but only with like airplanes and conventional weaponry. And then there's like another DEF CON that's basically like everybody hold their breath, and it's like, and now the nukes can fly. And like throughout all of that, you're just like negotiating and talking and like out of the game, like calling people and just being like, "Hey, listen,
Hmm.
listen. Here's what I'm gonna do. If you do this, I'll do that."
Nuclear launch detected.
Exactly that. Exactly that. It was so good. Um, and it would just be sitting in the corner of your screen, and you'd just be staring at it, and you just be like, "I hope they're not gonna. Hope they're not gonna betray me. I hope that." You just hear the sound, and you're like, "I hope it's not coming towards me. I hope it's not coming
Yeah.
towards me."
Yeah. Honestly, Neptune's Pride, same feelings, same
Yeah.
thing. Because nothing stops anyone. There's no like nothing stops anyone else from attacking you instead of doing what they said they were going to
Right.
do. And the
Right.
ships are already in transit and they could change their direction. So many of the your fleet is going to help me. Oh no, you're not. It's a pincer attack. What's going on?
Mm.
And I'm eliminated. And they had a deal going on in the background this entire time. Moments of anger and like at the end of the day, it's just a game, so you brush it off.
But
But
also, I'm not gonna forget about that.
exactly, the next
Yeah.
game of Neptune's Pride, there is no way I'm going to make any deals with you because
Uh-huh.
this has, you know, it's great. It
I had
really
a
is.
really good board game of Risk Legacy with a bunch of friends that lasted for like 4 years.
I
Wow.
love Risk Legacy.
Yeah.
Love it
Risk
so much.
Legacy is cool.
The
Yeah,
winner took the board. They have it hanging in their house
yeah,
now. So
yeah.
Wow.
I've
yeah.
I've played it 3 times. Once again at Game Loft, we used to have a board game night, and Risk Legacy took over. It
Right.
really just took over. Like we brought
Yeah.
it one time, and then we didn't play anything else until that game was done. But it took like 6 months or 8 months or something like that for that game to be done.
Yeah.
Like a really long time. And the second is yeah, because we were waiting for the right configuration of people each time. So when different people, we played something else, and it
Right.
took that long. And the second
Right.
is just a board game night with friends, and the third is with my family. It's a
Aw.
five-player game, and I have one wife, 3 kids, so
Done.
it's perfect. And we only played it whenever all 5 of us were available. So that's what took long, is to wait for
Right.
everyone to come in. But I'm not the best player in my family. My daughter is like my not soon to be 14-year-old is so
That's the
good at board.
general. Yeah.
Oh, she's just so good at board games. Like there's so many of them that she's just like really. She hasn't even learned the rules yet, and she's already strategizing. It's
Right.
amazing. I'm so proud and embarrassed, but proud
Right.
because she I was the teacher, and now she's better than me at board games, which is great. It's a good feeling.
That was me and my younger brother growing up. He would always, I would teach him a game. He would start to beat me,
Yeah,
and then we'd find a new game
yeah.
because
I've
I'm not going to stand for that.
I have like three siblings now who are better than me in Street Fighter, which is shocking because I've always been, the teacher. But now it's
Oh.
just you get older. I know you too. You're still young spring chickens, but you get older. Your reflexes are actually slower. Like
Mm.
what's the new focus attack, Fawzi?
Like
drive,
the break,
yeah,
the
drive
guard
something,
break.
right?
Yeah,
The new
the
focus
drive
attack,
rush.
drive rush. That's it. I can't react to it anymore. I have to anticipate it like a grab, and that's new to me. Like I've always been
Mm.
able to react to those things. Now I can't. If it comes out, I if I didn't anticipate it already before, I don't have the timing to be able to
Mm.
react to it. So before I
Oh.
had the reaction times and the anticipation, the experience, that kind of thing. Now I only have the experience, and they're gaining that, and I'm losing the other thing. So so that's it. It's
Man,
over for me.
I need
Yeah.
a trip to Montreal to challenge the Dorias family in some
Yeah,
Street
Yeah.
you
Fighter.
do.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's
when we
like,
had our thing, I held my. You beat me, but I held my own. I was doing okay.
that's
Now,
true.
like
Yeah.
my brother is platinum in Street Fighter Six.
Wow.
There's no touching him. I'm like gold. He's platinum. There's no forget
Have
it.
you
Fauci,
watched
it'll be
the
like
Have you watched the Evo finals together for Street Fighter?
So I
Did you
watched
guys see that?
highlights because I was super busy, but I was so happy to have watched the highlights. Talk to us about it, Fozzy.
Man, the final six was incredible alone, but like the grand finals, it was it was so intense. Like it was the series reset
Mm,
once, and
mm,
then they went to like the final round of the final match. It was bonkers, like so edge of your seat, kind of. You
mm.
don't know what's happening, but at the end, Angry Bird won.
Yes.
Angry Bird is an Arab. I think
Yeah.
he's a
Really.
Jordanian origin. He had like the Jordanian flag on his back,
Aw.
and it's a historic victory. Like I have a Jordanian dude winning Evo. Basically, he's the Street Fighter world champ.
That's a big deal. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it
You
was.
must have been like hollering, Fozzy.
Yeah, man, I lost it. It was amazing. He just like the minute he won, he broke into tears.
Aw.
Like he couldn't help it. He was like completely overwhelmed with emotion. And then he went down in prayer on the floor. He did the sujood and the takbir.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he was just about to unhook his controller and like leave the stage. And organizers were like, dude, take your Evo trophy. And like cheer, like greet the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And dude, like I've never seen like Evo's just growing every year, but this year
Yeah.
I've never seen it this big. I feel
It looked
like
like
it
a
was,
UFC match. It was like
yeah,
massive.
right.
There's so
It
many people.
was
It used to
huge,
be like a cafeteria with chairs. It was
right.
like,
It
what
used to be
happened?
like an underground place with
Yeah.
like plastic chairs that you get from a garden.
Yeah, exactly. Like what we call Walmart chairs. I don't know if y'all call them
Walmart
the same
chairs.
thing.
That checks out.
Yeah. It's like I
Man, it
can't
was
believe it.
a huge event, and like all the audience had like lights on, so like in the dark they looked like starry
Yeah.
skies.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere was incredible. I'm now thinking like, man, next Evo I should probably go.
If you go, I'll
Just
go with you.
just to
I've never
watch.
been. I've never been. Every
I've
year I
never
told
been
myself
to
to
an
go.
Evo either,
Yeah.
so
Let's make
man, yeah,
plans.
let's do it. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
make plans. That would be nice.
Exciting.
Especially if you get like final matches like this. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Absolutely. Rami,
And
of
I
course
think
you're welcome
Oh,
if you want to join.
I'd happily come along. That sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and I think Arsalan won the Tekken Evo. I need to double check. I forgot. But yes, he won his fourth Evo title.
Yeah. I have a bunch
Uh,
of friends who participated at Evo this year. One on
yeah,
my team, my producer actually went and participated, which is great. Like I love that anyone could just like show up and just play, which is really
yeah.
phenomenal. But yeah, man, it is huge
It's
now. But
huge. Yeah, so Arsalan is also a Muslim from
yeah,
Pakistan, and he
yeah,
won his fourth Tekken championship. This dude
yeah.
was born in '95.
Yeah.
He was like when he won his first title, he was like one of the youngest players to ever win the Evo title.
Yes. And he's like, basically there were so many documentaries that I watched about
Have you
specifically
seen those
how
documentaries? They're incredible.
they're incredible. Like basically, Pakistan was its own microcosm of Tekken, where it had its own players that didn't play like anywhere else in the world. And when they started to play somewhere else in the world, anywhere else in the world, competing with the best players, they were dominating the best players in the world, because that is something that shouldn't happen. Like if we know how things usually work out, if you have a bigger pool of people, then they should have more knowledge and more experience. How does that even happen? And then of course their experience seeped into everywhere else, but they're still obviously dominating. That is like a story. I need people to like study that and figure out how something so specific happened. Like
So incredible, and
yeah,
like they're like pro players under like the most extreme of circumstances.
yeah, it's incredible watching them play. It's magic. I've never been like I won't say never. I'm like Tekken isn't my top favorite fighting game, but I've always respected it. And I played a lot of Tekken 3 specifically. That was my favorite one in the series. So I understand it, even if I don't play it a lot. And
Yeah.
watching them play, like just the slightly 1 millimeter away from the opponent to make them whiff because you backed out at exactly the right time, and like that is the Pakistani style of like dodging and faking that
Yeah.
really allowed them to like get a lead in the world when they first started to fly everywhere. But the story
Yeah.
itself of Arslan, how he almost didn't make it to his first tournament because of all the like visa
The
issues and all
visas. Yeah.
right,
It
Yeah.
still
right,
struggles with visas sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Rami, you're no stranger to those stories, of course.
Nope.
Yeah,
Like everything else, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. But the visa part,
yeah,
me, I understand that part.
yeah. It's his biggest
No,
opponent for any fighting tournament is the
right.
visa. Yeah. It's
Well,
No, I
Arslan
mean,
versus visa.
I'm looking up. I'm looking up what happened, and yeah, this is wonderful. We should
Yeah,
see. We should see if we can get like him to come on sometime.
yeah.
Would be
Arslan
nice.
That'll
and
be
Angry Bird and other
Yeah, just the
people.
entire, just this is super cool.
Yeah,
man.
Like
absolutely.
seeing that photo of him like kneeling
Yes,
on the stage is just what a beautiful picture.
Epic.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
like it's the finals is a dude from Jordan against a dude from Panama.
yeah, yeah.
So it's no longer that fighting games, and like the grand champion of Tekken is a Pakistani dude. So like
Right.
it's no longer that like these games are only the Japanese people or Japanese players are winning, or American or Western players are winning. It's like it's international, and
I love it.
people from all over the world are like competing
Yeah, yeah. It is incredible.
for the big stage. That's super cool, super great to see.
It's
Like
also really funny to see how different brands take these photos because like some of the brands that are sponsoring or that are involved are like putting the photo of the player everywhere, and then some of them cut away right as he does it.
Yeah.
I'm like, ah, that seems a little weird to take like the big celebration moment out of that video, but okay, I see, I see.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
it's such an
no,
epic game, and like he plays Ken like no other.
yeah. Ken is OP though, but still, all the love. No, I'm kidding. It's a very balanced game. It really is very balanced. My
I'm hearing,
beloved
I'm hearing
Zangief
some.
is at the
I'm really
bottom of
hearing
every tier
some.
list, and
Yeah,
I'm a little bitter about it. But like
yeah. I
that,
was about to say I'm hearing
yeah.
some bitterness here. I'm hearing some like Osama got beat by Ken a bunch.
Well, the funny thing is that yeah, Ken is beating me a bunch, but he's not even the biggest bane to Zangief because
Uh-huh.
Ken has to come in close compared to other characters. Like Zangief traditionally always struggles with like Dalsim, for example, and still does in this game. But Ken is just so strong. It's just my biggest beef is with what's her name, Manon, is the new grappler. she's like a better grappler than Zangief. Plus, she could strike. Like, why? Well, give me something to work with here. When I play her, it's like she could grapple better than me. She has bigger ranges and more setups. But anyway,
Zangief is not that top tier, I think, in Street Fighter,
no,
and the current meta.
he's very low tier actually. Like
Yeah.
arguably the bottom tier. I still love him and I'll still play him because it's my favorite character. But yeah, not doing it.
What I love about Street Fighter Six is like this is like the first Evo since it launched, and like the player the like you see almost all the characters
Exactly.
represented. You know,
Exactly.
like I remember there was this one Evo when like everybody was like, what's his name, Jun.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
Daigo switched from Ryu to Jun
To
that
June.
year.
Yeah. That's in Third Strike, right? Was it? Or is it Street Fighter 4?
I think it was Super Street Fighter Four.
Okay. Because like
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember when Street Fighter 4 first hit, everyone was
yeah,
either Sagat or Ryu.
that's true.
Because Sagat was the best character in the game, but Ryu was a counter to Sagat. So there were more Sagats than anything else, but Ryu usually won the tournament.
Yeah.
If you could make it to the top 8 with Ryu, you had a chance of winning. That was what it was.
Against the Sagat.
Against
That's
the
funny.
Sagat, exactly. But I mean, that's fine. That's normal. Game like they can never perfectly balance a game. It just doesn't work with asymmetry, right? But
Yeah,
they're coming close. Like now, if you look at the older games, usually there's like 5 or 6 characters who are contenders out of a roster of 30 or 40.
yeah,
Now there's like half are contenders often, and sometimes more, which is shocking. They're doing much better at like analyzing the data and figuring out how to do things better, like how to react faster. It's great.
yeah. It's super. This Street Fighter is so good,
It
and
is.
it's great to see like this resurgence in fighting games. I don't know if they'll ever be as popular as they once were in the '90s. You know, like when they were taking over all the arcades. I
Mm,
feel like it's like you said, like with these games, like you need to have that experience to just even start to compete. So, and I know that they've tried with the modern controls and stuff like that, but I still see it as a very steep genre
mhm.
to get into. I
I
mean, like
agree, but
you're more likely to learn a MOBA than to be able to like properly compete in a Street Fighter in a fighting game generally.
I do agree with that. But keep in mind that when we say are they as popular as '90s, we're talking about like percentage of players who play video games who are playing fighting games. Because
Yeah,
number, it's definitely much higher now than in the '90s.
yeah,
Definitely. And there are a
that's fair.
lot of fans that watch and don't play, which was not. I mean, before it was like I went to arcade with a handful of friends who wouldn't play but who would love to watch, and I'm sure that wasn't unique. But now, like with Twitch streaming and Evo, there are so many people who are just I can't execute. I don't play these games, but I absolutely love them. I've met so many of them. So like, in terms of popularity of sheer numbers, like I'm positive it destroys the '90s. But in terms of percentage of people who play games, yeah, I think it might have not been, might have
Yeah,
dropped a bit.
the competitive scene is definitely growing, which is really amazing to behold.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something else.
Yeah. Rami, we did the Rami in which we just were talking about
Yeah.
fighting games for a while.
This is great. Anyway, so in Destiny,
Yes, exactly.
uh,
So we want to give you your Destiny section.
I mean, there's not much happening in Destiny right now. Showcase is coming. Well, there's a lot happening in Destiny right now in the community, but it's not really happening. A lot happening in Destiny in the game because we're coming up on the new season in like 20 days, 15 days or something. So until then, there won't be much happening. The community is really upset, but it's Destiny, so that's to be expected. That happens every like. I actually built a website like 2 years ago, 3 years ago that um, basically predicts audience sentiment based on what the sort of cycle was at the start and end of a season. And it's been pretty much on point for the entire thing, including like big streamers leaving and stuff like that. So really, there's just nothing happening in Destiny that's worth talking about
Hmm.
Mhm.
right now.
Any other game?
Well, let's see. I have been playing Final Fantasy 16, which I do want to talk about.
Hmm.
Mm. Yes.
Venba.
Oh,
Um,
yes. I played that and finished it.
I'm
nice.
halfway through. Like, you have to wait
All
for
right.
me to finish it. It shouldn't
Okay,
take
yeah, that's
long.
good. That's good. Yeah, it's a very short game, so well, we'll keep it for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Um,
I just want to say that I've never played a game that made me hungry and in tears at the same time.
right, right.
You
Yeah,
haven't played
Like
Cooking
that
Mama, have
game.
you? No, I'm kidding.
No. But Vemba really made me so teary-eyed, man. Like
yeah,
I could relate to a lot of things. And you know what? Like I'm happy that Rami told me about it, because if he didn't, I would have texted you immediately, Rami. I think as I was
right.
playing it, I was
Mm.
like, man, if this has affected me this much, it must have
Yeah,
done wonders on Rami.
yeah. No, I bought my eyes out. But yeah, let's talk about it when Osama's finished then, because I would love to
Amazing
have
game.
like just
Yeah,
like
yeah, but play it
everybody
if you
play.
haven't, especially if you're like diaspora first, second generation. I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah. If
play
you
it.
if you like eating, play
If
this
you like
game,
food,
and
definitely.
also if you have parents or children,
Yeah.
and if you live in a place, these are all good reasons to play Vamba.
And if
That
you
should
like good
cover
music,
most people, I
Right.
think.
Yeah, that
if you
it's yeah,
and
that's
if you
people.
like good music as well, play this
Oh yeah,
game.
good music too. Um, but yeah, let's keep Vamba for next time. Did you all play? You played Ghost Trick back in the days, right?
Oh yeah,
I
many
did
times.
not.
I played the remaster. It turns out it's still a good game. Who would have
Oh
thought?
man,
One of the best.
that game will always withstand the test of time, I think.
Yep. Nope. It holds up. It is still a little slow, but it is still incredibly good.
Mm.
And Miss Sal remains the best video game character of all time.
Wait, I
Uh,
haven't played Ghost Trick. Should I?
oh
What?
yes,
No, I have not.
Yes,
go play it.
absolutely.
The
It's
remaster
also
is on
not
Steam.
super long. It's on Steam. It's on Switch. It's
On
on
Switch. Okay.
PlayStation. I think it's on everything now.
All right. Thank you for the
Yeah,
recommendation.
it's like 6 hours ish. Um, it's a
Mm.
little slow, but I think you'll really appreciate it, Osama. I can't believe you haven't played that.
It's
You
so
know what?
good.
It was one of those games that I really, really, really wanted to play, and then a million things came out at the same time, and so I
Right.
just, and I'm sure we all have a bunch of those. But I've always wanted to, and I love the character designs, and I looked at it as I'll play this next time, and it just never happened. That's all.
Listen, all I can say about that game without saying too much is Missile is the best video game character of all of video games. Like just straight up is
I
not gonna
believe it.
hear any arguments to
He's
any
a good
other,
boy.
and just the best character.
I love it.
Um, but yeah, Final Fantasy 16. Did either of you play it?
I played it.
No.
You didn't play it, Osama?
I have not. I'm sorry. I'm
Do you
told.
want to play it?
I mean, you can spoil it if that's what you're asking. It's fine because I'll play it either way
Well, I'm
eventually.
not going to super spoil it, but there's going to be some discussion of things that
That's
happen
okay.
in the game.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fuzzy, what do you think?
man, I am torn about this game because
Right.
like I am so torn. Like I like a lot of things that they're doing, and there's some things that I dislike, and I like that they do. Yeah, I'm torn.
Yeah.
Like I overall I would say I enjoyed it. Overall, I would say like it's a pretty good game, but like I don't know, like I need to like if you ask me would I recommend this game to you, I'm gonna need to ask you a bunch of questions first
Right.
before
Yep.
I wholeheartedly
Yeah. I
recommend it. Like Femba will be like play it.
yep.
Ghost Trick, play it. This
Yeah.
game will be like, wait, which
Do you-
Final Fantasy do you like? Do you like these? Like I need to give you a questionnaire
yep.
before
Yep.
I
Yep.
prime you to play this game.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think the highs of 16 are incredibly high.
Very
Right.
high.
Right. Like
Yes.
there's a bunch of moments like there's the big like kaiju fights basically, right?
Yeah.
The icon battles.
Yeah.
The
Epic.
the third one and the fourth one back to
Yeah.
back. Just
Yeah.
I'm not gonna forget about those anytime soon. Like
Very memorable moments. They
I'm gonna
remind
be
me
like,
of a PS3 game called Azura's Wrath.
yep,
Do you
yep,
remember?
Oh,
Like they're like
yeah.
over the top action with like
Yes.
the quick time events and
yep,
stuff
That
like
was
that. Very, very
PS3.
memorable.
yep.
Man,
Yeah.
that's a long time ago. I forgot.
But like that, but then PS5 with characters that I've known for my entire life.
Yes, with like
Hmm.
noticeably known
Yep,
characters.
yep. I
What?
was
I
I
didn't
was
know
just like,
that.
what is happening?
Yeah,
Like the third
very
one, I
epic.
was like, "Oh my god, they're never gonna one up that." And then for the fourth one, sort of like the final one of the second act of the game, I was like, "Yeah, this is just straight. What? I think I
It's,
screamed at my TV several times.
Wait,
it's
so
straight
what
up
didn't you
gangster.
like?
Yeah, yeah, but straight up gangster. That is
Yeah.
actually
So
yeah.
wait, what didn't you like then? That all sounds amazing.
So
So
let's talk about the stuff that we like first, because I
Okay,
want to dive
okay.
into like what, because this is only one of them.
yeah,
Rami, I don't know about you, but I really appreciated the dynamic narrative system.
yep,
That was super cool. They have this like interesting system in which, like, you just press a button, and like the UI will tell you, will show you all the elements that you need to know about the situation that is currently going on.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, like,
So,
like a location you're in or a conversation you're having, or somebody mentions something, you just quickly press that button, and then you will see all of only those elements on screen. So instead
yeah,
of you looking through an encyclopedia of dozens of entries, there will only be the entries that are relevant to you in that specific
right.
moment in time while you're playing the game.
And they're updated to your current understanding of the
Hmm.
situation.
Yes.
Yeah, they call it active time lore.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull it up at any time. You can put it up during the game. You can put it up during a battle. You can pull it up during a cutscene. Like whenever you need it, you can pull it up, and you'll get information on the enemies you're fighting, or the location you're in, or the characters that are currently speaking in that shot of that cutscene.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's incredibly well done. It's effectively like, oh my god, I haven't played for a week. What is happening again?
Yeah.
Under a button. It is great.
And it's super good because like the narrative of the game is not just like, what you see and read in the game. Like it's not like the dialogue and the cutscenes and the cinematics. There is a little bit of work, I guess, that you need to do, and like, reading up the lore, finding books, getting bits and pieces to complete your understanding about what this world is, in
Hmm.
order for some of the events that you're seeing to resonate even more. Like the events are kind of straightforward and they do make sense, but like the more you invest in getting an understanding about the lore of the world, the more like these events will actually resonate with you. And
Yeah,
like, and this system is super handy in helping you in like making that understanding.
yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of politics going on. I found it a bit weird because they really sort of like pulled this like it's Game of Thronesy, and I
Yeah.
think that's true for like the first 2 hours of the game,
Yeah.
where they're just
Then
like, yeah, it's Game of Thrones, and then they're like, and magical crystals anyway.
yes.
Um,
Nano machines.
yeah, yep, exactly. So I feel like for everybody who was expecting it to be more Game of Thronesy based on the demo, which felt very Game of Thronesy,
Mhm.
the final game is actually a lot more Final Fantasy than you think,
Yeah.
for better and for worse, right? Because I
Yeah.
think for me the weakest points are in the side quests.
Yeah.
Um,
The
like
side quests were not great.
no, they're slow, not super interesting. A lot of like MMORPG kind of quest design.
Uh,
Yeah,
Um,
go
y-
go there, get this, get 3 wood, something
yeah,
like that.
talk to the
uh,
person who gave you the quest, and then the person who gave you the quest after that, you have to talk to one more person to finish the quest for some reason.
Though
That
they
kind
do
of
get much better at the final leg of the game, I feel.
So that's kind of the weird thing. I think that my problem with this game, the reason I'm torn is that if you want to play this game and like it, I need to know that you're okay with busy work.
I
Yeah,
see.
Because if you're okay with busy work, you're gonna have the greatest time. Because these side quests, even though the quests aren't great, the narrative in the quests is amazing.
mm-hmm.
Sort of like the sort of like the world building that they're doing, the storytelling that they're doing. A lot of the side quests, if you do them, they build into main quests. They sort of merge into main quests that happen later on. And if you've done the side quest, you understand what's happening in those main quests better.
Yeah,
It'll be more rewarding. It'll pay off more. They're not going like easy on this. This is like you skip the side quest, you're really missing out on a whole bunch of gameplay, a
it
whole
feels
bunch of narrative.
so inconsequential as you're doing it, and then it unfolds quite a bit as you're playing the game, and that
Yep.
was really shocking,
Yep.
honestly.
Yep.
And felt a little bit rewarding for me. Like, oh, at least all that busy work was
Yeah. Paid off.
useful, paid off.
Yep.
like I think the challenge I have with the game, Rami, is that like it's an all-star cast. Like you got like
Yeah.
the people behind Final Fantasy 14,
Mm-hmm.
which is like for fans one of the better ones to come out since the Sakaguchi era.
Mm-hmm.
And we have like I think the combat director was the combat director from Devil May Cry 5,
And
which
you can
was
tell. And you can tell.
excellent, and you can tell when you start to play the game.
Yeah.
And the marriage of those two concepts for me is pretty good. Like I like the
Mm-hmm.
idea of playing a Final Fantasy with Devil May Cry combat. That
Right.
is pretty dope. I
It's a
am
good
into
idea.
that.
No.
And I think that the game executes fairly well on that. But
Oh.
where like I get disappointed with it is the depth. So like
Right.
the combat is interesting, but it doesn't go nowhere near as deep as the one in Devil May Cry 5, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
makes
Mm-hmm.
sense
Right.
because it's an RPG. But the RPG systems also they don't go as deep as it
Oh, this
would
is
in a
not an
Final
RPG.
Fantasy game.
It's not an RPG.
Yes,
It's an action RPG.
It's an action game.
Yeah.
it's an
Like,
action game.
yeah, Fawzi's 100% right. This game it's linear. You go from A to B. There's some side quests. You can choose to do the side quests at that time, or you can do them later.
Hmm.
But you're probably gonna do the side quests. Your weapon progression. There's no choices. You just buy the better one. The
Hmm.
crafting system. There's no choices. You just get the one that's best.
Hmm.
Right. So there's not really much role playing going on here.
Okay.
Right.
Exactly. There's not the depth that you would normally see also in the systems
Right.
of a Final Fantasy RPG to create like that layer of like equipment, character customization, playstyle, and all of that.
Right.
But there's
Yeah.
still enough of it to keep it interesting and
For
motivate you. So
sure.
so so that's what I mean. Like if you're an action fan, I'd be like definitely play Devil May Cry. If you're
Yep.
an RPG fan, I'd be like well, I don't know, play Baldur's Gate.
Right.
you know, and but this game lies somewhere in between.
Yep.
Somewhere in between the action, the RPG, the very heavy narrative game. So I feel
Yeah.
like I think it's so it will be polarizing. Like there will be Final Fantasy fans that will love it, and there will be Final Fantasy fans that would not love it at all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
For sure. I I will have to say, like, the thing that sort of finally clicked the game for me was New Game Plus.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Really?
I didn't try it. How was that?
It's much harder. It really sort of like forces you to sometimes in battles to sort of look at your setup and like reconsider some of your some of your items, to reconsider your icon setup, your attack, stuff like that. So it really allows you to sort of like play with the systems a bit more, because I don't know, but like at the end of it, I just had a loadout and I used that for the entire game,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Hmm.
What I will say, and this might be fun for you as well, Osama. I don't know, like you like your action games a lot.
I do
Um,
actually like it.
my I actually like one thing I like about the sort of like lack of depth that Fauzi was talking about as well is just like I um my mom started playing,
Huh.
and because she finished God of War Ragnarok before me, by the way. That's the first game my mom beat before I beat it. Like, so she tried not to spoil me. I think I might have mentioned it last time, but I still think that's incredible.
Okay.
Uh, she started Final Fantasy 16,
Hmm.
and um, there are these sort of like kind of Dark Soulsy um, items that are like rings, and if you put them on, they can take care of part of the gameplay for players.
Interesting.
So they can do dodging, they can do. But my favorite one is when you're about to be hit, it shows you a short slow down QTE to get the dodge. It's the same button
Huh.
for dodge,
Yeah.
but you get like a little slowdown to do it, and um, it suddenly made me realize that my mom could totally do a Dark Souls game,
Yeah. That's amazing.
because
Do they have it
I'm
for more than just dodge? You said that for a
yeah.
lot.
So they can do attacks. They can change. They can allow it to do attacks to sort of like do combos that then lead into larger attacks.
Hmm.
So you just mash square, and then like your character will basically do cool stuff, kind of like the Final Fantasy 15
Hmm.
gameplay.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's one to control your pet. So your pet will just attack randomly. There's one that charges your magic attack to the point where you only have to like press the button and it'll do a full charge attack if you let it charge. So it'll passively charge your magic attack, which otherwise you have to hold. So there's a lot of accessibility stuff in there that I thought was very cleverly built on these somewhat limited systems.
Are they? Is it a trade off? Like if you
Mm.
toggle something like this on, do you have to,
Yeah,
kind
so
of?
you have 3 accessory slots, and
I
each of them
see.
takes 1 accessory slot.
That is really interesting, and
Really cleverly done.
yeah, because if you have the execution to be able to do all of those things without needing it, then you could just pick a different bonus.
Yep.
That is so smart. I
I
wonder.
really
I
I
don't know
really
It's
if
love it.
such an
another.
interesting system because like you can equip these to help you, but then
Yes.
you lose on the perks,
Yep.
Yes. You know
or
what it
you
reminds
can
me of?
yeah.
I don't know if you remember. Okay, I'm sorry. Rami's gonna get bad at this. I apologize, Rami, to bring it back to fighting games, but there was a Marvel
Street
versus.
Fighter 6.
There was a Marvel versus
This
Capcom. I
was
think
Marvel
Yeah.
versus Capcom had a system like this.
Yeah.
yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom had an auto block option, but it was just an option. If you chose auto block, like whenever you're in neutral and you are about to get hit, it auto blocks for you. And
Right.
then Tekken X Street Fighter had the gem system, and
Yes.
one of the gems was an auto block gem.
Right.
But if you take that gem, you're missing out on other gems.
Right.
I knew it reminded me of something. It reminded me of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's the gem system in Street Fighter versus Tekken, but
Yep.
also like sorry, or Tekken versus Street Fighter.
It's Street Fighter X Tekken, I think that
Yes,
one.
Oh
that's
my
the
god,
one.
Joe.
Yeah.
Yes. But also, like the latest Street Fighter has a system in which, like, the control scheme. If you play modern
Yes.
controls, like you can just get the move out by press of a button, but you have slightly less damage.
We don't have the
Yeah.
system in Destiny for the record, Joe. For anybody listening that's wondering, it doesn't exist.
It's not just
Oh,
less
love an
damage, but it's also
assisted mode
fewer
in Destiny.
options. Yeah. It was also fewer options because like
Right.
you don't have all of the medium punches. Like you switch to a light attack, medium attack, hard attack, which means you're missing
Right.
something, right?
I'm actually curious, Fauzi. Like, what was your? Can I ask what your setup was near the end in terms of icons and attacks? Like, what was sort of your build?
I don't really remember.
Right. I
Don't really remember. Tell me about yours.
so
Refresh
I
my
had
memory.
so one of the things is while you're playing the game, you unlock these like summons, right? And you can sort
Yeah,
of like channel their power. And then each of them has a number of attacks that you can equip, but you can only equip 2 per icon, and you can switch between those icons at any moment's notice, right? So you basically have 6 strong attacks tied to 3 icons, and each of the icons comes with a feat, which is sort of like a basic ability that you can use through combat with no countdown on it. So you pick
yeah,
3 attacks that you have, and then 6 abilities. And at the start, you can only use the abilities of each respective icon with that icon. But as you upgrade them, you can actually set specific abilities to icons that don't own those abilities. So you can mix and match in like more interesting ways. Um,
yeah. I
my
remember using Odin a lot. Odin
yeah,
and Phoenix the
yep,
entire time.
good combo. So I have Odin because Odin's feat is just absurdly powerful. Odin's ability basically charges up an attack if you use a weaker weapon, like you're forced to use a weaker weapon or Odin's abilities. If those attacks hit, it charges up an ability, and if you trigger that ability, it does just ridiculous amounts of damage. And on the higher levels, it even does damage to all targets, which is great. I have, let's see, what is the other one? I have Titan, the Earth one, because it has a lot of counter abilities.
Yeah, I
And
use Titan a lot as well.
Titan is so useful because it's basically just a block button, which you don't actually have in the game. But if you do a perfect block, you can do a really hard punishing counter, which is really fun. And then the final one is I have Garuda, the wind one.
Hmm.
Hmm.
because it can do sort of like a pull, and if you get a target to stagger, if you do the pull, the target actually falls over, and you get like a free like damage window.
That's the wind one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, like my abilities are like I have some light abilities, I have a few dark abilities, and a few fire ones. Like I have a bunch of counter stuff. So I have a heat wave, which dispels magic coming your way and then counters harder.
Yeah.
So I have one I can just set up for counters purely.
That's cool.
I'm usually in that one, and then if I get like a good damage window, I'll switch to the other ones.
It's such an interesting system.
It's
Yeah,
really fun. I
it's
really
fun.
like at the start I was kind of bored by it because like you basically feel like you're so locked in with how you play with each of the
You go through
icons.
the motions.
Yeah, but then when they kind of go like, okay, and if you upgrade things fully, you can just mix and match whatever way you want. I was like, oh, now I'm having fun.
Yeah, exactly. When you start, like when you can customize stuff, it becomes
Yeah.
more of the game you expect.
I have one
One thing,
question, if I
one,
may.
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead, Sam.
Yes. My question is, you said at one point with characters that I recognize,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I want to be spoiled on this or not, but are you talking about like Garuda or Behemoth or whatever
Yeah,
as
yeah.
Yeah,
The
we're
okay,
talking
okay,
about
okay.
the summons. Yeah,
I
summons.
see. Okay, because
so
those
like,
are, you said Garuda, and I'm like, oh, the Wind One, because I remember
Yeah.
that all the way back from Final
Yeah.
Fantasy, what, 3, 4?
It's
yeah,
basically, remember like watching the summons in like the early Final Fantasies and your
Yes,
imagination just running wild with what that would look like in real
yes,
life.
yes.
Yeah, just whatever you were thinking, they did better.
Wow.
But
and this
like
is
this, just absolutely bonkers.
And this is
Okay.
actually one of the things I really like about the games from a narrative point of view. And that's a very slight spoiler here, so you can skip 20 seconds if you don't want spoiled about the game. But the summoners in this game, from a narrative point of view, are treated as like these people with this amazing power, because like this person that can bring in the summon, that summon can wipe out an entire army. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
It's like in all the previous Final Fantasy, like a summon will come in, Hellfire, destroy half of Earth, or like a Bahamut Zero would like
right,
literally laser the Earth in half,
right,
and then like
right.
now it's the enemy's turn.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, Whereas like in 16, it acknowledges when you bring out the summon, everybody knows.
Yep,
Like it's not just the people in the combat; entire armies, kingdoms are alerted. It's a big deal. A summon is out.
yep.
You
And each
know,
of the kingdoms reacts to what the summons are and to magic as a whole, like in different ways. And like it's really well done, sort of this idea of like what would a world like this potentially look like.
That's so cool.
Um, yeah, it's really
it's
well
really
done.
cool.
You
But yeah,
Narratively,
actually,
that's really one of the my favorite parts about the
I
game. Actually,
I think my favorite part about the game is when our main character sort of like comes like sort of like has their first like real summon moment.
yeah, yeah,
That was like it was very heavy on the philosophical themes, and I was very okay with that.
yeah. That's also Final Fantasy a little
Yep, yep,
bit.
yeah. I really enjoyed it. I'm really having a blast with New Game Plus. Fauzi, if you enjoyed the game but you didn't like the side quests,
Yeah.
go New Game Plus. Skip all the side quests except for the ones that give you better weapons,
Hmm.
um, and then just go. Like I promise you, like the combat gets a lot more fun when the enemies aren't like I do this, then that, then this, then that, and then I just hit them until they stagger, and then I do this, then that, and this, and that, and like on New Game Plus, you actually like do have to think about things quite frequently.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
It's
get
really
into
fun.
that.
Yeah,
That
give it a
sounds
go.
cool.
My mom is enjoying it. She just played the starting chapter, and 15 was her first game, so
Yeah. Final
uh,
Fantasy is a big deal for you, Mom.
yeah.
she recognized some of the themes, and like she even had a
Wow.
moment where I was just like, she walked through a hallway, and she goes like, "Oh no, there's potions here. That's a bad omen."
Oh
And I'm like,
no! Wow.
"Huh? Well,
Yes.
well done, mom.
Yes.
She's officially a gamer.
She's pro gamer now." Yep.
Love it.
That's
Um,
Anyway,
super. Summer, did you play any games?
honestly, no. I mean, I played
No.
half of Vimba, which sounds like a lot, but this is such a short game. It's not. And I attempted to play Baldur's Gate several times, but I promise you I will succeed before next week. But that's it. It's I'm as I explained last week. I'm still in a double duty parent mode, so
Right.
I'm not. I hope y'all don't mind putting up with me as I'm going to be very light on my own experiences for the next few weeks as things continue to settle down and improve.
Of course, Habibi.
Yeah, so like
Don't worry about it.
maybe
And don't
6 months
worry, we
from
can talk.
now, I'll
We
be
can talk
like,
about Street Fighter
yeah,
anytime.
yeah. I
Yes,
mean, I'm not even
exactly.
playing. I didn't even have time to watch all of Evo. It's on my I just watched highlights because I didn't have time to dedicate to it. But I'll catch up. I promise. Things will get better. Maybe 6 months from now, I'll be like, I finally finished Baldur's Gate 3, and it'll be the first game I finished. And since then, who knows? Or maybe it'll go faster. Either way, I know we're out of time for today. So I just wanted to say that though we don't have any emails in the banks right now, this is a great opportunity to send us your emails at info@thehabibis.com, and we'll read them on air. Fawzi, Rami, as always, I absolutely love chatting with y'all, and I'm looking forward to next week where we could do the same and live vicariously through your gaming moments until I can rejoin you in the ranks of gamers. And everyone else, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Salam.
Salam.
That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I'm Osama Dorias, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at Osama Dorias. My fellow Habibis were Rami Ismail, you can find on Twitter at THA_Rami, and Fawzi Mesmar, who you can find on Twitter at Fawzi Mesmar. Send us your questions, stories, suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. Intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubayla, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcasting service or check out thehabibis.com for more information. Thank you for listening, and Assalamu alaikum.
Osama, were you just so nervous about getting the ending right that you just dropped in and did it?
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's in my mind now. If I wait any longer, I don't know what I'm going to say, so might as well just
what's happening? We asked him about, you want to play any games? No, that's all the time we have for you today, folks.
Salam alaikum.
Salam. I was like,